Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live. And today I'm going to be talking about 3 reasons why I had $25,000 of debt, even though I was around 6 figures in my business. And this is something that if you haven't made 6 figures, if you are trying to make more money, if you're kind of on that path, you might be thinking, like, how could that happen? Like, how could that? And I remember thinking that also. But if you are someone who's made 6 figures, you know how easily that can happen. You know how you could have this amazing year, how you could make a whole bunch of money in your business, or maybe you and your husband come into a new type of wealth, maybe something really takes off, you get a raise, something like that along the lines. Basically, your earning capacity has increased, and you realize that your money's just not doing the things you want it to do, right? Like, I have definitely been there and I have struggled with that. And it was just such an interesting pivotal moment for me to have a year like that where I made, 6 figures, and I still was struggling with actually being able to do all those things that I thought would be taken care of once I made the 6 figures. I thought once I hit 6 figures, of course I'm going to be debt free. Of course I'm going to then have a savings account. Of course I'm going to become my idea of what it means to be like a financially empowered, responsible woman. And I didn't. And when I hit 6 figures, I realized that's a completely different skill set than making money. Like, that woman is completely different than a woman who makes a lot of money. There's just different things about her that you have to master and you have to become in order to become that financially empowered woman. And I remembered looking at all of my peers and looking at all the people I aspired to and seeing that they had made 6 figures, 7 figures, however much money, and thinking, like, well, they must have no debt, they must have a savings account, they must have all of their financial stuff taken care of. And then when I would get the behind the scenes of some of these people and some of these businesses, and I was like, wait a second, you have debt? Wait, you don't have a savings account? You live paycheck to paycheck, client to client, just as much as I am when I'm not making that much money yet. And it was shocking and surprising to see. But I want you to know, if you're on your way to becoming a high earner, if you are a high earner and you are doing already some of the financial things, like you have a budget, you're probably keeping track of your expenses, and you're probably wondering, like, okay, like, why am I not making those things happen that I thought would happen when I got to this level? I'm going to talk about 3 things, and they're the reasons why, but also they're the 3 tricks you can do today in order to take care of that money, in order to take care of that amount of money. And even if you're not at this high earning level yet, whether it's 6 figures, 7 figures, multiple six, please start doing this stuff now. When you put these things into place now, what ends up happening is when you get to those high earning levels, you already have those habits and those ideas and those thoughts that will then get you to more money whenever you do start making more money, or it will make the little bit of money you have right now feel like a lot, right? All right, so before I jump in, I just want to let you guys know that I am hosting a free 1 hour live workshop on my favorite financial software, which I'm sure you've heard me talk about several times, on You Need a Budget. I'm going to be talking about in today's video, though, how I used You Need a Budget not in the right way. I used You Need a Budget for 2 years, so I was tracking my expenses before I came into this high amount of money. I was trying to do the things that get me into that place of having those financial habits. And then once I did make the amount of money and realized I still had debt and still didn't have a savings, it was because I wasn't using You Need a Budget in the way it's supposed to be used. And I'm going to be digging into that in reason number 1. But You Need a Budget workshop that I'm hosting on Monday, November 6th at 1 p.m. It's going to be in a private Zoom room, so you can come and ask me private financial questions. Sometimes this is a little too much when it's public on Facebook, so I want to have this private, intimate area where you can ask me all around your budgeting or your money management questions, your debt questions, your saving money questions, your investing questions. Come with any of those, this free live workshop. I'm going to be talking about the 4 ways you can actually use You Need a Budget to pay off debt and save money. It goes deeper than expense tracking. I touched on it a little bit today. And then I'm also going to be talking about that there's one thing you need to know when it comes to your numbers and your money that will actually get you clarity on how you need to be making money and spending money. So it's going to be really good. And I want you guys to join and just come and ask all of your financial questions in this intimate, awesome space. So I put the link in the comments if you're interested in joining us. But now, let me dive into reason number 1 around how I was able to be someone who's a high earner, but still carry this like massive, kind of massive, like the average amount of debt now has really gone up. But to me, it was pretty massive at the time. Like, why was I still carrying this amount of debt? And I want to preface that also by saying that I did pay off debt before. I paid off around $9,500 of debt during this big year. And then I got right back into it. And that's because I had, reason number 1, the same habits that I had when I was making $10,000 that I did when I was making $100,000. Now, like I said before, I had started using You Need a Budget. So there was one habit that I had changed, and that was tracking my expenses. But if you've ever been someone, if you're currently this person, you track your expenses. So maybe you have a little planner. I've worked with several clients who have like paper binders about tracking their expenses. Maybe you have an Excel spreadsheet where you track your expenses. Maybe you've created your own type of money system or use some type of money management app. And what you're doing is tracking your expenses. You might think that you are budgeting your money, okay? But when you use You Need a Budget, it is entirely different than just tracking your expenses. So I had this tracking your expenses habit down, right? But my habits of spending, saving, paying off debt, investing were still exactly the same at $10,000. Making more money does not magically make you financially savvy or smart. It does not. All it means is you've built a skill set that you can make more money. And that skill set is entirely different than the financial habits and thoughts you need in order to keep money, in order to save money, in order to pay off debts. So if you have the same habits and thoughts as you do at spending $10,000, as you do as making $100,000, or at making $10,000 as you do as making $100,000, you're going to be pretty disappointed when you get to this high amount of money and you still carry debt and you still don't have savings. Now, obviously, there is a difference between the amount of money, right? There's more money. But there's certain habits that you'll carry over that have to be fixed before you make this amount of money. So I speak of experience because this was me, right? I made $10,000 in my business or whatever, and I will spend until zero. How many of you know that feeling of I will spend until zero, no matter what? I had moments in my business before hitting my first 6-figure year where I would have a big month, maybe at a big launch or whatever, right? Spend until zero. It didn't matter. And that same habit carried right over to my 6-figure year. Spend until zero. Now, I also want to say, yes, I was expense tracking. So I was tracking all of my expenses. I knew what I was spending. I knew what money was coming in. But because my mindset was so stuck and because I had this habit of spend until zero, it was all I ever did. Over and over and over again, no matter if I had a $15,000 month or I had a $2,000 month, it was spend until zero. So I don't know if that's the habit that really relates with you, but that was one of my reasons why. My habits, my thoughts, my mindset was exactly the same as it was when I was in a low earning year as when I was in a high earning year. And there's a real shift that has to take place. There's a real learning and an education that has to take place in order for you to get to the place of I'm going to save money, I'm going to pay off debt, and I'm going to invest, right? That's one of the reasons that I had to learn. So reason number 2 is all about, hold on one second. I just can't see myself on the live right now. Oh, my computer probably froze again. Oh, okay, good. All right, reason number 2, we're back. I didn't know how to use YNAB correctly. So like I said, I started this habit, right? I started this habit of, okay, I'm going to track my money. I want to be better with my money. Even when I started tracking my money, I wasn't making as much as I was in my six-figure year, but I was like, you know what? I just want to get these good financial habits into place. I mean, I was there, I was ready, I was willing. I was like, let me do something financially so I can feel financially empowered, so I can feel like I am going to take charge of my money for once, right? So I start using You Need a Budget. But I used You Need a Budget in a way that it tracked my expenses. So what that meant was, if you are going back to that point I was making, if you are using some type of Excel spreadsheet, if you have a paper full of, you have a binder full of papers that's all about your expenses and your income, right? You have some way of tracking your money, and you think you're budgeting your money. You may even go to that paper every single month at the beginning of the month and lay out your expenses, lay out how much money you need. That's not how you get out of debt. I know it's shocking because I did it. I tracked my expenses for 2 years, and I thought I was budgeting, and I thought I was using my money, and I thought I was using the You Need a Budget app in the way that it was meant to be used. I thought if I use that app, then magically I will get myself to pay off debt and save money. But guys, if my habits are the same, if my mindset is the same, when I go to use this tool, I'm going with like the same thoughts and ideas of someone who spends money, until it's zero, of someone who doesn't think that they're worthy enough of saving money. If I go with those same thoughts and habits, I'm just going to use this tool like everything else. Now, what I started to learn about You Need a Budget, which is why I'm hosting this free workshop, is that You Need a Budget is not just a tool that you use, but there is an entire philosophy and mindset around it. Once I started to learn around the philosophy and the mindset of You Need a Budget, I said, oh, wait, this is what makes this software so different. This is why so many people rave about this software, because there is an entire philosophy behind it. Once you start to learn that philosophy, that's when you start to use the tool to pay off debt and save money. And I didn't know what they were, and I didn't know how to make them happen. But once I embraced them, then I started to actually do those things. And I'll tell you, when I started to do those things using You Need a Budget, I wasn't making as much money as I had in my six-figure year. Like, I had recently gotten pregnant. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to keep this going? My head's in the toilet most days. I was puking every single day. I had no energy. I was like, how am I going to keep this wheel that I created of make more money? How am I going to keep that going? Because that's what I had learned was how I make money. Oh, you just keep working and making more money. And then I really started to lean into this budgeting tool and say, like, wait a second, if I just learn how to manage the amount of money that I have coming to me now, however little it is, I can make this actually hit my financial goals because I understand the mindset and philosophy behind You Need a Budget. So that's why I'm hosting the free live 1-hour workshop, and I'm going to walk you through all of the 4 philosophies that are all around You Need a Budget. And if you can understand those and comprehend those, and you can use that with You Need a Budget, you will have no problem paying off debt and saving money. Even if it's tighter this year, or if you are making a lot of, trust me, come to the free live workshop. I'll walk you through all the 4 philosophies. But that was reason number 2. I didn't understand how to utilize You Need a Budget. I thought it was just like an expense tracker. If you are budgeting your money on an Excel spreadsheet, if you are using a money app, any of those things, you need to actually understand that there's an entirely different philosophy, and that a lot of those things are just expense tracking, and they're not going to get you to those financial goals. So come to the free live 1-hour workshop. All right, reason number 3. I was stuck in a make more money mindset. I was stuck in the I'll just make more money. I'll just keep my business. I'll just sign another client. I'll just have another launch. I'll just figure out some other way. I'll just build a fancy funnel. I'll just create a new brand. I'll just do all of these things. I'll just keep making more money, and I'll just keep working harder, and I'll just keep raising my prices, and that's how I'm going to get out of debt, and that's how I'm going to save money. That reason is what kept me in debt for so long. Honestly, and probably kept me really tired. I was like working a lot in that year, and it wasn't really necessary. I really didn't need to work that much in that year. But that was really my biggest reason. And I see so many of my clients come to me at very high revenue, like a really high revenue, and just being like, I have created a job for myself. I now have to go to work every day. Sometimes I have to work weekends. Sometimes I have to work nights, and I've watched people actually turn their businesses and create them into jobs. Like, and create them to be these things that it's a wheel that you have to pay people and you have to keep going. I know so many, I have related to that feeling so much. My 6-figure year was just all about just keep the machine going. Machine being my business, machine being me. And then I'll get to that place where I'll pay off debt and I'll save money. But it's not like it's paying off debt and saving money and getting to that place where you are like a financially empowered woman. Is it like a place you arrive at when you've made a lot of money? There are people who could be at $500,000 in revenue and be, only taking home $2,000 profit. Or there could be people who are at $800,000 in revenue and still carry, $100,000 of credit card debt behind the scenes. Like, there are seriously, these aren't situations where you just make more money and the money just poof disappears and then you just have these financial habits that just work out and everything just works out. It's like, this is a muscle that you build as you get there. But if you were stuck in the place of make more money, you will constantly stay there. Constantly stay there. You will burn yourself out. You will keep trying to find anything that will get you to that financial place you want to be. Anything. So, if there's any piece of advice I could give to you today about if you are in the make more money mindset trap, it's to start managing your money. Start looking at your money. The money you make right now, I don't know your expenses, so I can't say this for sure, but the money you make right now might be enough. It might be entirely and totally enough. And maybe you don't need the launch that's 10 times bigger and maybe you just need to manage your money better. That's it. And that is the source. Like, I get blown away sometimes that I never looked at the source of my problems. Like, if the problem you're trying to solve is based upon money, go to the source, which is money, right? And a lot of us are going to our businesses as if the business is the source the business is the solution, right? Like, and it's not. Like, the source of your problems, it's money, and it's the money management. It's not your business. The money is the solution, right? All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this live today. I loved getting real with you and sharing all these things around. Yes, I was a very successful person. I was earning a lot of money, but I feel way more successful now that I understand how to manage money. Now that I'm debt free, now that I have savings, I feel like I can sleep at night, right? So I would love if you could join me for my workshop on Monday, November 6th, all about using You Need a Budget. It's entirely free. It'll be an intimate, small space of us just talking about how to use You Need a Budget, and I hope to see you there. All right, everybody, till the next live. Bye.